Today I'm going to cover my client Vivyen's reverse diet for weeks 23 and 24. Hey, this is Colin DeWaay. If you want to end the yo-yo dieting cycle and create forever results, make sure you subscribe today and click on that bell notification so you don't miss anything. So the theme of this update is definitely to be geared towards showing you that overeating is not the end of the world and a single day of overeating isn't going to wreck your progress. If you've been watching from the beginning of this series, you've heard me talk over and over about how important your relationship with food is and how many people who struggle, whether it be through a reverse or cut or anything else with regards to weight loss, it's because they have that tough relationship with food. And if you remember way back to the beginning of this series, Vivyen's relationship with food was not very good. Thankfully, now that we've been working together for a while, she's gotten past most of her old tendencies and she's in a much better place to handle unusual circumstances. So as you're going to see in a minute, she has had a couple of high days over the last couple of weeks, but it hasn't turned into anything significant. And the big reason why is because whenever she did go over, she just got right back on track again. See, the reason many people struggle and gain more weight than they need to is because when they do make a mistake or have a day of overeating, whether it's planned or not, they have a really hard time getting back on track. You just end up feeling bad about it, you kind of beat yourself up about it, and then that one day often turns into multiple days or even weeks, if not longer. It might even start with just one meal or even one snack, and you just think, well, I screwed it up, what's the point? Let's just keep it going for a while. So I want to show you something really important here. So there was a day in week 23 where Vivyen was out at events all day, and she ended up going over 533 calories for that day. Now, one strategy we can take when we do have overages is sometimes we can go ahead and take away some calories from future days to kind of even that out. But as we've talked about before, Vivyen doesn't do really well with that thought pattern. So she just went back to her normal numbers, and this is what the week ended up looking like because of it. On average for the week, she ended up going over by 6 protein, 5 carbs, and 3 fat. It's almost nothing. I mean, sure, it's going over by about 70 calories on average for the week, but our bodies are so dynamic and complex that really doesn't add up to much, especially when your calories are already really high. I mean, nutrition labels can be off by up to 20% and still be considered in spec, so there's literally no way to be perfect with your nutrition, and we don't even know for sure how many calories we're eating. So that's just one more reason why we shouldn't be aiming for perfection. It literally doesn't exist. Now, is it better to stay on track as much as possible? Of course. We're gonna have occasions when things get off, and a little bit of an overage here or there really is going to mean pretty much nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like I said before, it's the F it attitude, it's the all or nothing approach, it's the beating yourself up and letting things spiral out of control that makes things go south. So please stop doing that. Don't beat yourself up. It accomplishes nothing and only makes things worse. Just learn and get better. Anyway, despite her overage, her weight was actually pretty stable for most of the week, but the average was up almost a half a pound from the previous week. And since that's pretty close to a pace that we want to be at anyways with her being in the building phase, I just wanted to keep things even for another week and just see how things played out. Now, the following week was off a little bit too because she was moving and she graduated with a bachelor's in exercise and sports science, which is freaking awesome. So naturally, since she was moving literally across the country now, there was more eating out and enjoying times with friends and things like that. So there was some overages and she was 100% okay with that, and she should be. We still need to be able to live our lives and celebrate special occasions and go out and have fun and not let this fitness lifestyle completely control us. So she enjoyed it more. She still tracked, but she was able to be more flexible and just have fun. And she ended up about 100 calories over for the week on average. But even with the overage and even with the end of her week being around her period week where her weight is typically elevated, she still stayed completely stable all the way down to the thousandths of a pound from the previous week. So since she's been over the last 2 weeks and her weight has been stable, I decided to give her another 4 grams of fat this week just to kind of keep ahead of things and keep the reverse process going. Keep in mind too, I have her interchanging carbs and fats however she sees fit. Now, with calories being so high, it's really irrelevant whether I give her more carbs or fat, but I find that if I give people more fat, it makes it a little bit easier to feel like you can be more flexible. But check this out, this is pretty fun. Since the start of the reverse 24 weeks ago, she is now eating over 800 calories more than she was when she started, and she's still down almost 2 pounds from the beginning. She's getting a hell of a lot stronger. She has a much better relationship with food. She's building muscle. She's improving her metabolism. She's learning how to enjoy life. Vivyen is definitely winning right now. Now, I have something I want you to do. Tracking macros and flexible dieting are great, but there can definitely be a downside too if you aren't careful. Make sure you check out this video to make sure you avoid falling into any of these traps and help create a better relationship with food for yourself as well.